apply that filter, and now we have a lot more. 85% are probably gonna be trash, but if you get in contact with, let's say, half of these real estate agents, and now they're in your back pocket for any other deals. But let's say we bought it for 220,000 times 0.06 here. So she's gonna make 13,200. It's got some permits and plans here. Let's see the condition, right? Total rough shape. I mean, this is investor special up the wazoo. This is where you get fine-tuned with your underwriting. And this is where you get fine-tuned in understanding what are investors looking for. All right, guys, in this video, I want to show you guys the quickest and easiest way to get started wholesaling real estate. So right here, one of the easiest tools you guys can use is Zillow. It's absolutely free. It's a great place where you guys can connect with agents, find on-market opportunities with real estate agents who have listings currently. So the biggest thing when you guys are getting started wholesaling real estate, if you guys have zero money, where are you guys gonna go find leads, right? Where are you gonna go find properties? And one of the easiest places I think to truly start is using Zillow. So if you just go on Zillow here, you can literally just type in Zillow.com. What I like to do is I like to go to obviously for sale. I'm gonna remove this boundary. I'm just gonna do like a whole statewide. So whatever market you're in, if you're in Florida, if you're in Texas, you know, some states you gotta be careful because they are non-disclosure states. It's a little bit trickier to sell because it's hard to find comps. You don't know what ones are remodeled. Unless you have MLS access, it's really tricky. But Florida, Arizona, Georgia, there's a lot of states out there that are non-disclosure states that you can find all this info online and it's readily available. So what I like to do is I like to hop over here on Zillow, and there's some great features here where you have all these different tabs, right? So what you can do is you can go basically do this filters tab. It's right at the more, and right in here, you're basically just gonna go, you know, this doesn't really matter because you're on for sale, but what are some keywords, right? Investor, fix and flip special, rehab, whatever. So let's just even just type in fix and flip, right? Because if you're trying to find deals, you want to find deals that are for fix and flips, right? Now let's say you're not getting that many results. Okay, well let's try investor special or just investor. Apply that filter, and now we have a lot more, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm just using Zillow. I'm seeing what's on the market, and I'm trying to filter it out by investor special, investor deals, fix and flip. As you can see, there's a bunch of options here. Then what you're gonna do from here is you're just gonna go pick an area, right? Let's say, you know, for us, we're here in Arizona, Mesa, Tempe, Chandler. These are all really good areas. And now, the trick is when you're using Zillow is you don't want to get so caught up on kind of the price. I mean, there are going to be a lot of deals on Zillow that are just overpriced. I mean, I'd say 80% of the deals that we do are off market, but you're not going to be able to build relationships with agents unless you're calling them, right? You're nurturing a relationship. Hey, Sandra, my name is Lucas Hauer. I'm a cash investor here in Florida. I'm a cash investor here in Georgia. I'm a cash investor here in Arizona. What you're gonna do is you're gonna use Zillow to say, hey, Sandra, I see you're listing on XYZ street. I'm interested, I'm actually a cash investor. I got a bunch of cash I'm looking to deploy today. Do you have any other fix and flips available? I see this one, and let's just say, for example, maybe it's not the best fit. I would still call that agent because you know she's active in the marketplace, right? So you're gonna wanna call her, hey, Sandra, you know, I see you're listing here. I'm a cash investor. I got a lot of cash to deploy. I'm ready to go. Do you have anything other than this property on XYZ street? Oh no, you know, this is the only one now, you know, that I have currently. Okay, well, Sandra, do you mind if, you know, save my number, keep me posted on anything that comes up that is a property that needs work, that's distressed. I close in 14 days, I buy it as is, I have a short inspection period, and I'll even go unrepresented if you want to save the seller more money, right? So what I'm using Zillow for is the relationship piece, because getting started, like I said, maybe you have zero contacts, maybe you have zero real estate agents that you're, you know, in the pockets with. And this right here is a great way. If you go call, let's say most of these are just really bad deals, and we'll look at these, you know, in a little bit. But let's just say out of these, you know, 200 listings that are on market on Zillow, let's say 85% of them are bad. 85% are probably gonna be trash. But if you get in contact with, let's say, half of these real estate agents, and now you've talked to 100 real estate agents where you now have their cell number, you've given them your cell number, and now they're in your back pocket for any other deals. And now maybe every week, you're reaching out to these real estate agents. Hey, Sandra, do you have anything new coming up? Hey, do you have any new properties? Whatever, right? Now you're touching base with them, right? So it's all about, one, getting your foot in the door and using Zillow, build relationships with the agents, and then two, use those contacts that you're building to then use as a follow-up sequence. So that's why I love Zillow, and especially getting started, it's gonna be a great tool because this is where you get fine-tuned with your underwriting, right? And this is where you get fine-tuned in understanding what are investors looking for. You know, you want to be knowledgeable. When you're talking to these real estate agents, you want them to think that you know what you're talking about. Because if you don't, you know, you're just going to get laughed out the door, right? So perfect example, I'm pulling up this property here, 258 East Franklin Avenue. It's in Mesa. It's got some permits and plans here. Let's see the condition, right? Total rough shape. I mean, this is an investor special up the wazoo. Interior, totally, like, I mean, it's down to the studs. Now, without me even looking at this property, my assumption is an investor recently bought this property. And what you can do is if you go back to the listing and you go down here, we'll probably see the price history. So actually, somebody bought it in 2013 for 50,000 bucks. Instinctively, that makes me think, okay, well, they obviously have room. They bought it, you know, 11 years ago, and now they're listing it for 270. Looks like they're either they were trying to do the work, or it looks like they just completely bailed and were like, hey, I bought this house. It was in, you know, horrible shape. Maybe they haven't done anything to it for the last 11 years. I don't know what the case is. Now, these ones are interesting because if I'm looking at a property like this, these are specific properties that need a lot of work. I mean, this alone could be 150,000 plus rehab, right? We're talking new roof, new electrical, new AC, new windows, new paint. I mean, there's so many issues that could be wrong with this property that I would be so unbelievably low. But this is a perfect property where if you go down here, you're gonna see right here, listed by Sally Paul, and it has her number right here. Realty One Group, it's got her the MLS number. So I would call Sally and I'd say, hey Sally, I saw your property on 258 East Franklin Avenue. What's going on with it? I can see it needs a lot of work. It's been sitting for a little bit. It looks like it's got some good activity. I can see that whoever bought this, the investor or whatnot, bought it 11 years ago. Has it been rented? You know, why is it in such rough shape? Get them talking, right? Build a relationship with them. It doesn't have to be a 30-minute conversation, but it could be a 5, 10-minute conversation where you're building that relationship, asking questions. What's going on with it? Okay, hey, you know, obviously you want to be prepared too, where when you're looking at this property, you're going to want to look at what's for sale or what's sold and try to find some good comps. So when you are on the phone with her, you don't sound like a half-wit, right? So I would also take a look at it, you know, take a look around. I see this one, it's 1,500 square feet. It's on the market for 520. It was partially updated. You're looking at these ones. You know, these ones are a little bit smaller. This one's sold for 475. This could be a good comparable. You know, so just for the sake of argument, I would put a rough number of the value of this property, about 450,000, let's say, because it is bigger. Even though it's bigger, it's gonna be a lot of work. So, like I said, I would call this agent and I would pry for information. I would say, hey, what's going on with it? Do they have room on price? I think it's priced fairly appropriate, but in reality, I'm gonna be in the low 200s. Is that an offer that would even make sense for you? Well, no, it's just too low at this time. We have a lot of activity. Okay, well, if anything changes, feel free to keep me in mind. This is my personal cell. Feel free to save my number in your phone. I'm always looking for properties just like this. And I'll even do you one better, Sandy. I'll even follow up with you here, you know, in the next couple of weeks, see what's going on with this property, and just see if you have anything else, right? So that's what you're doing. You're using Zillow as that, you know, relationship piece, right? You're building contacts, building contacts, building contacts. That's all you're using Zillow for, and you might even be lucky enough to pick up this deal. Another great tool is to always mention that if you're an investor, that you're willing to go unrepresented, or I'm happy to have you represent me, right? Agents always want to know what's in it for them, right? So what I like to do is there's certain situations where I'll actually have Sandy right? I'll be like, hey, Sandy, do you want to represent me on this property? Or do you want me to go unrepresented? Which what that means is they're gonna not have, the seller is not going to pay commissions on my side, right? So on a property like this, if it's listed for $270,000, times that by 0.3%, I mean, they're gonna save about $8,000 almost in just realtor commissions on my side. As an investor, I also pay closing costs, right? So just by them using my offer and going with my offer, even if I was at $220,000, they're gonna save another $10,000 plus by using my investor offer, because they're gonna save agent commissions and they're gonna save closing costs. So it's all about negotiating and all about the framework of how you're talking to these agents. I always mention that. And I always also mention that, hey, do you wanna represent me? Because now if they're representing the seller and they're representing me, the buyer, they're actually gonna make more money, right? So what's in it for them? Hey, you can even represent me. So instead of you making 3%, you're gonna make 6%, right? So let's say we bought it for $220,000 times 0.06 here. So she's gonna make $13,200 if she represents me and the buyer. Or if you divide that by 2 instead, she's only gonna make $6,600. So who do you think is she gonna be on your side now if you're like, hey, let's draft an offer up at $220,000. I'll give you my LLC info. I'm gonna give you, my proof of funds. I'm gonna give you my title company. You're gonna give them all that info. Sandy here is gonna write up the offer, and instead of her making $6,600, she's also gonna make double that at $13,000, just over that, and she's gonna be on your side because now she's representing you. Now, granted, it doesn't happen like that all the time. You have to be careful about when you use that. Sometimes the seller might just want, maybe it's a family friend. Maybe she's like, hey, I just want to net the most amount of money for my client. So always use that as a tactic. It does, I just like saying that because it will always help, let them make the decision. You want them to feel like they're in control when you give them that option. But if I'm going unrepresented, either way, I'm gonna need Sandy to write this offer up, because her broker is most likely gonna want it in an actual MLS contract, which is basically, the contracts that, it's different in Florida and Georgia and all that, but here it's an MLS contract. We do have a purchase and sale agreement that we can give you. If you wanna comment below PSA, we'll actually give you that purchase and sale agreement that we use. So you can also use that on a property like this, but I like giving the option to the real estate agent. So, like I said, I would just be hopping around on Zillow. I'd be going to all these properties and I'd be calling them one by one. This person here, right? You can tell it's a little bit outdated. It's a little bit newer. This might not be the best one for an actual investor. Once again, you can go back. It's listed at $419. If you go down here, you can see, what was going on here. Did an investor buy it? So yeah, an investor bought it 4 months ago for $310,000. So probably not gonna be the best deal for us to buy because an investor already bought it, but what a great person to reach out to, because who knows, maybe this was the real estate agent that brought this buyer the deal, right? So I would go ahead and I would call, let's see her name, his name is Nate. I go ahead and call Nate and I'd say, hey Nate, I see your property here. I see it was recently fixed and flipped. It looks like they did a good job. They bought it for, I can see they bought it for the low 300s. Now they're listing it for $419. Do you got anything else that, needs work? I mean, this one I'm not gonna be the best fit for because it's already in good shape, but you got anything else? Maybe this was the agent that was working with the buyer who bought this property, right? So once again, I mean, there's 2 agents that you could contact to and have in your back pocket, right? Here's another one. I mean, I would just be going one by one by one and calling all these agents, introducing myself, telling them how I can help them, telling them how I work, telling them, hey, here's my offer, or maybe here's not even my offer, but here's how I can help you do more business, right? So use this as a resource. It's really as simple as, like I said, you go to what's for sale, you go to this more tab, and you basically just put in investor, and you can mess with this, like I said, right? As you could see, when we put fix and flips, it didn't pop up that many results. But I put in investor, and it popped up about 200 results. So like I said, whatever market you're in, this works. You can go one by one, and you can start just going to these, clicking through these properties, calling the agents, building relationships, building contacts. So I hope this helped, and like I said, if you guys want comment below PSA, purchase and sale agreement, right? PSA, and I'm gonna give you guys our purchase and sale agreement. So you can go ahead and use this strategy, and you can use our purchase and sale agreement to actually lock up your first deal. And if you don't have the relationships, reach out to us. We'll help you actually sell the deal no matter where it's at. So if you also need help, I did drop a video that was about underwriting. So look at that video, watch it. I showed you guys exactly how to underwrite a property like this, right? So that way now you know how to go find the deal. You know how to go underwrite the deal and talk to the agent about the offer that you have, right? So use those two resources. I'm telling you, this is the quickest and easiest way. If you're looking for a side income and you're looking to make money wholesaling real estate, use this as a resource. Go do this. Go pull up your laptop. Go start making contacts on Zillow. Go start underwriting properties. Get familiar with the game. Comment PSA. I'm gonna help you guys get your first deal, and I'm gonna help you guys make 6 figures this year. So comment below. I hope this helped, and I'll see you for the next video.